is your buddy. Peace and harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful empowered harmonizers. And we're zooming in and focusing in on a very important topic when it comes to really healing through abusive or manipulative relationships, such as when someone has taken advantage of you, gotten under your skin, take you to the cleaners, take you to the mill, taking you to the steamroller, whatever it is that you have felt where they have really done you in, pulled the wool over your eyes and have really taken advantage of you and treated you with disrespect, and you responded with kindness, you responded with generosity, or just even tolerance. And in an emotionally manipulative relationship, this is often a reaction to a narcissist because you don't want to enter into the narcissistic rage for fear of their hostility, their anger, the retribution, the resistance you're going to feel. So rather than facing the fear, oftentimes people want to pacify or acquiesce to this abusive person. Pacify, like giving them a pacifier. Acquiesce, which is just like laying down your rifles, and just surrendering and giving in to their plea bargain. So when this has occurred again and again and again with a relationship, who could be malignant narcissist or psychopath, someone who is really just in the business of only taking and not really kind of giving in the way that you deserve. Sure, there can be a few crumbs here and there, a few bits of approval, a few bits of affection, but overall the relationship is out of balance and dysfunctional, and oftentimes plagued with scapegoating, where they're taking things out on you, projecting, and really, giving you the short end of the stick all the time, and they're not giving credit where credit is due to you. This can create a real lack of self-confidence when you're healing through in a relationship with these sorts of malignant individuals. So I really want to zoom in and focus in on this topic of really how to get a sense of self-confidence moving through this sort of relationship. So self-confidence means you have an unshakable sense of certainty and knowingness about yourself, and your worth and value as a person. This is also known as self-esteem, having positive self-regard, holding one in one's good light, and knowing how the good light runs through you. So it's not that all of a sudden there's good in life and then it comes to you and then it's bad and then it's good again. It is to understand your value as a human being, and this has to be intrinsic, ingrained. It is to know your place. So if you've been displaced by this person, you are not going to have this experience of positive self-regard, positive self-esteem, positive self-worth, or kind of knowing that as it works as sort of the foundation of your day, of your feelings, and the basis of your thoughts, your decisions, your choices, the relationships you keep. So if you do not have this, you are not going to have the self-esteem to be able to have the self-confidence to enforce your boundaries, to say, hey, this is positive zone here. You don't just come in and barrel in and do as you wish and, pillage and then leave. You don't, go and trash this person here, my emotional space, which if you think of it almost on a larger scale like a country, in other words, you don't just come in, take what you want, don't pay the taxes, and leave. And this is nothing about the current political system. This is just an analogy. I refer to analogies because I think it helps you to understand something very etheric or emotional, such as an etheric boundary, an emotional boundary. It's not like you walk up around, with a big poster board and say, this is, where I'm at, and, you're over there. You don't do that. I mean, back in the day, they might have had a shield where if someone was, flinging an arrow at you, you might have been able to fend it off, or you might have, been able to ride off, with a horse. But we're talking about emotional violation and the boundaries. And so to have self-confidence is to have certainty. And we all have different degrees of certainty versus uncertainty. So a little bit of uncertainty makes things exciting, fun, fresh. Oh, what are we going to see? How's the weather going to be? What's it going to be like when we travel to this part of the country? There's that certain mysterious or unknown, but we do need to have a certain degree and balance of certainty. In other words, are the tires okay? Is the car okay? Can it make the distance? Are my tires going to blow out? I'm afraid my brakes are going to go out. I'm afraid I can't handle these roads. That is fear, trepidation, and uncertainty. So if you have found yourself in the midst or the swamp or the muck or emotional muck with someone who is toxic, who has put you in the situation, it's to feel that you don't have the tools, resources, or the ability to articulate first to yourself and then to another in how to handle it. So, and how to back them off, back them down, say, no, go here, and enforce that. So it's very much the need, I feel, to have self-confidence is going to come from a first and internal state. It's going to have to come from within. If it's coming from an external locus of control, then you're always placing your self-esteem, your self-value on a condition or a person's response. So, for example, doing something for yourself that gives you a sense of appreciation and value will begin to set up that feeling of self-worth. But if you've been disenfranchised by a number of different comments, being lied to, being scolded, slapped, being cheated on, all these acts of betrayal, and then you're still trying to repair the relationship, it's to say, I have overextended myself. I have violated my own boundaries that I've needed to declare for myself. I've set my standards, 1 inch off the ground, and I think I'm okay to raise my standards a little bit. So it's to see really, where you are at in terms of your standards and where they're currently at and where they need to be, and then enforce those boundaries. In other words, you can't just come in and treat me like this, talk to me like this, and then expect me to forget that this ever happened, even and to forget that my life took a real detour course and has affected my life to the point where I can't ever get that time back, that I now understand that the pain is great enough and I'm no longer going to make the mistakes. I'm no longer going to allow this to happen. It is not good for my health. It is not good for the health of the world at large, the people who I come into contact with, etc. So for you to gain self-confidence is to know that the pain of uncertainty has to be great enough. The pain has to be great enough for you to change. Otherwise, if you are waffling in, kind of floundering, meandering, I don't know if this is the right decision to say no, you are still in a state of uncertainty and self-doubt. So you're still saying, my standards are still down here, 1 inch off the ground. Maybe if it's 2 inches, maybe that's a little bit of, in the right direction, and maybe I should continue to tolerate this. That is unequivocally flawed thinking. And that is what causes people to remain in abusive situations, domestic abuse. People are so hurt they can't leave. They're so dependent they can't leave. They cannot create an exit strategy. They don't have the internal dialogue. They don't have the validation of their own senses strong enough and articulated enough within to be able to articulate their boundaries and know that they can enforce it. In other words, this is where we draw the line. You have to know yourself where you draw the line. And to know that you can unequivocally defend yourself here. In other words, this is not tolerated for me to be treated or talked to in an abusive manner. My decision then, my choice when this happens, A plus B equals C, and I am out of here. I am, not communicating. I am not, entering into the boxing ring with you. I am not here to solve your problems and to take all your negativity on. That is not fair to me. And so you have to be able to articulate that to yourself. So if you're still feeling kind of raw, if you're still kind of feeling like you can't have that self-confidence, is because you have not arrived to that place in the map, X marks the spot, where you unequivocally say, this cannot be tolerated. This is not fair for me. This is not fair for my family. This is not healthy. So you have to have a clearer sense and be able to understand and make that mark and say, okay, this is where it is. And this is kind of a growth stripe, if you will. Begin to feel like you're earning your stripes, you're earning your badge, you're earning your patch. This is the Boy Scout, Girl Scout, badge of honor that you have now learned to tie the knot with yourself and commit this to yourself, that this unequivocally is where, and not that someone else tells you, because that can also change. If you're waiting on someone else externally to tell you if it's okay or not, then once again, the locus of control is outside of you, and that can be disempowering. You need to be able to gauge this and energize this from within, hence the word empowerment. And so to be empowered means to be able to articulate and be able to have the self-talk, which can be very simple. This is not fair to me. This is, in violation of my standards. And so you have to be able to articulate this to yourself so that you can then have the emotional change and then the behavioral change that will be congruent with this. In other words, the sense of certainty and confidence will be practiced and rehearsed and rememorized within your physiology. So you do need to take action steps. Your physiology studies have shown that when you exercise, when you exert yourself, when you step up your physicality, you create neurogenesis, you create new neurons. In those new brain cells then need and require new nutrients and new synapses in order to function. So it is literally like setting a new seed that sets out a new root system that needs to draw from the environment, and then they expand and create their place, their ground, and then you see the new little the new little plant. So when you step up your physiology and get a little bit of energy, you're increasing your feel-good serotonin, which makes it a fertile ground for these positive thoughts to be able to take root. If you don't have the serotonin level up, if you are really depressed, you maybe have a chemical imbalance at this point, where the positive work that you're doing is not really taking root. You need to be able to step up that serotonin. People sometimes take antidepressants, general antidepressants for a period of time to get them into a feel better mood. If you need to consult with your primary care physician, if you feel this is the case, you're really struggling, your mood is pervasively down, your body hurts, it's cramping, you're always your physiology is down, then that might be a consideration for you. But otherwise, for self-confidence, you also need to work on your physiology, how you hold your body, how you hold your musculature. Begin to notice this, because the minute you stand up straight and look up, you will begin to see that you begin to feel better. And also, if you look up and smile, it's very difficult if you hold that position for a few minutes. Most people can't even do it that long, because the positive energy will become, and it's very difficult to simultaneously smile and frown and look up and feel depressed at the same time. So you really do need to combine what I call the affirmations, which are setting up those feel good statements where you're giving a command to your physiology to feel a specific way, because you are at the helm here. You are the pilot to your physical body here, and you can give it commands to feel good. It feels so good to have a good night's sleep. I feel amazing. It feels so good to be out in the fresh air. This air is so clean. I feel magnificent. And then repeating this and then looking up versus looking down. So many people look down. It's a wonder, they don't have depression, because they're always looking down, literally and figuratively looking down. So if you're able to pick your head up and look towards the sky, look towards the top of the trees, look to the birds, look to up, begin to look up. And as you look up, literally you will pick up your mood. You'll pick up your physiology. And you need to get your physiology going and combined with positive, what I call affirmations, which means you're giving commands and declarations to how you feel. I deserve respect. I deserve love. I deserve respect. I deserve love. I feel tremendous love now. I feel tremendous self-respect now. So those things that you're speaking into existence, your word is law. You are the sheriff in town. You are setting and commanding this energetic vibration into your physical body, as well as the energy space around you. You are making declarations. And as I've spoken in previous videos, you need to make these very simple statements, 5 to 7 words, out loud. If you feel, peace and harmony, my neighbors are going to think I'm crazy for, speaking, I feel amazing. Well, you need to get some new neighbors because you need to feel amazing. You deserve, this is your run in life. This is not a dress rehearsal. You don't go on in 10 years. You don't go on in 2 years. You are on right now. This is not a dress rehearsal. If you're always procrastinating, as I talk in my book about the procrastination also, a lot of people put off feeling good because they think eventually this person is going to turn around, this and this is going to change, and they're waiting for the day. You have to, it's like newsflash, you have to make the day. I feel good now. Enough time, enough water is under the bridge, enough time has gone by, and my time is now, and I claim it, and so it is. My time to feel good is now, and so it is. My time to feel miraculous, my time to encounter the miraculous is now, and so it is. And I feel wonderful, I feel magnificent, I feel energized and strong, and I'm so grateful for this. Amen. And as you articulate this and say it out loud, whether you're in your car, you need, even if you feel down, you need to want it that bad. As they say, you need to want it as if someone was holding your head underneath a pump of water and you could barely breathe. You need to want your good feeling that bad, as if you're, trying to swim to the top, of an ocean for air. You're swimming and you need to get to the top for air. You need to want it that badly. Or, as if someone were holding your head, underneath one of those water pumps and you could not breathe. I want to breathe. I want to feel good. I deserve respect. I respect myself. I embrace and love myself unconditionally, and that is now, and that is how I feel now and forever, so it is. I am lovable. I deserve love. I deserve the good life. I am making it now. And when you do this, you're speaking and you're visualizing also, you're getting out of that rumination of the fear center, the limbic center, the brainstem, the limbic center, which is keeping you in the fight, flight, or fawn. It's keeping you in that, freeze state where it's kind of like nothing is really happening. You're just kind of waffling. So when you make these pronouncements, when you make these affirmations, when you make these declarations or affirmations combined with the physiology, you are opening up the prefrontal cortex, which is the vision center, and then combined with kind of seeing yourself and doing it now. So not only can you see yourself doing it now, but you are speaking it into existence, i.e. for your future later today, tomorrow, next week, later next month. You are speaking it into existence. And when you speak it loud enough, even if you need to do this in your car and you're feeling depressed, you need to demand, I deserve happiness. I unequivocally deserve happiness. I, without a doubt, deserve happiness. I, with 100% seriousness and certainty, deserve happiness and peace. I deserve to be empowered. I deserve to articulate this. I deserve to have boundaries and standards. I deserve this. I am a person of value, and I know the value of my moments. I know what I cherish about myself, and so it is. And is this is precious. I am precious. When you repeat these over and over and over and over again with belief, and your confidence will come. When you know it to be the case, you know the good that you've done, you know the skills that you have, you know what you've given, you know the end of the earth that you've gone, you know the heart that you have, you know all that you have been through and put up with and tolerated for too long. You're sick and tired of feeling numb. You're sick and tired of feeling lost. You're sick and tired of being mediocre. You're sick and tired of feeling isolated, because oftentimes that is, a natural reaction, which is to isolate. It's kind of like, you're curling up in a cocoon. You're trying to go, you're a butterfly, living life, and then the abuse happens and you're trying to regress back into a cocoon. Hey, life is pretty tough if you're trying to stuff yourself back into a cocoon. I mean, you can kind of hibernate for a little bit. Yes, you do need to have that deep rest where you kind of say, whoa, where am I going on the journey? Because that place where we were going before, that ain't pretty over there. There's a mudslide. It's, it's swampy. It's, sulfur air. It's polluted. I'm not going there. My journey ain't going that route. My journey's going this route, and I'm charting a new course now. And with the chart of a new course, I'm charting new feelings. And I'm literally alchemizing and charting my new I am. So it's allowing that DNA to be reset. So the DNA, which is your cellular body and how you metabolize thoughts, feelings, emotions, your neurochemistry, your neuroplasticity, when you engage this new physiology, you're creating new neurons, you're creating new seeds, which are now branching out and need new nutrients, and you're engaging in what is called neuroplasticity. And then you're keeping on the uptake of the feel-good neurochemicals, which are your serotonin and your dopamine. So you might need to assist yourself along. You might need to bring some music. You might need to go to some different spots. You might need to go to a cafe where there's a little bit of energy. You might need to go to a restaurant on your recovery date and take yourself out. You might need to, pick up your physiology and begin to walk a little bit more briskly. You might need to raise your voice to yourself and really get yourself. You need to pick up your emotion. Enough is enough. You've spent years in this mode. That is enough. No longer am I, taking it laying down. This is not right. It's not what I want. It's not what I need. It's not happening anymore. So you are declarative. You have made a firm decision. When you make a firm decision emotionally and you are committed, not, it would be nice if I had confidence. It would be nice if I wasn't abused. You're still kind of envisioning yourself stuck. In other words, you don't have a positive role model, a vision in your mind's eye or otherwise of yourself in a positive success state. Either, articulating for yourself with the 5 to 7 words that you need to say. That is not fair from here on out. That's not how I'm going to conduct myself in relationships. It's to articulate that, and then to know how to handle, if you're, with these people, how to basically let them go so you can be free. And really that when that freedom comes, which oftentimes is very powerful, oftentimes people are afraid because they don't know if they can handle it, or they don't know if they can back this person off or enforce their values or back up what they're saying. And unequivocally, you can. So you need to, I feel, in the privacy of your work, is you need to know how and what you're going to say when this happens. In other words, if they're coming back to you, they want to pull you back down. They want to hover you. They want to go out on a date. They want to go out for dinner. They want to text you again. They want to pull your heartstrings. It's to say unequivocally, I'm sorry, but I've moved on. You have to say that to yourself. You have to articulate these words. That relationship was toxic. I'm moving on to a better life. And so you have to know in your heart of hearts that it is better for you to make this declaration and this energy change. If you're still thinking, well, maybe the old role of being taken advantage of is really me, or I'm afraid that people won't like me, I will not be received well if I have this change of character or draw a boundary, I'm afraid of that. So there's a lot of people who are afraid of how others are going to perceive them. And so they don't ever change. So unequivocally, you have to let go of the fear of how others are going to perceive you. You have to give them the credit for being able to handle that. If they can't handle you saying no, then they have work to do. That's not your work. That's not your job. You have overextended yourself to, be abused. To say, you can abuse me and, you can talk to me this way. That's not good for them. It's also not good for you. But we need to focus this on you, because that is where your self-confidence will come, when you're able to know how to respond. So if they're trying to, call you, text you, say things that are going to make you reactive, then you just say unequivocally to yourself, when this happens, I won't react. I will not react. I'll have strength of character, and I will give that positive self-regard to myself. And I'm still going to be the loving, kind person. Yes, that's what they will know me as, but they will know that this is a boundary. This is what a good character, this is what a good heart will do, will protect itself here. It'll say, unequivocally, I have, I think it's in your best interest for this. And then you let them go. I think it's in your best interest for this. You don't even have to further support them. To feel that way is to feel that, you're still responsible for their feelings. Yes, they are a human being. You can, discuss with them, your feelings. But you don't want to get into a lot of energy exchange with this person, because they're going to take it for granted. And enough is enough. What are some other statements I think that viewers can say that will help with the confidence? It's knowing what you deserve. Knowing meaning I have no doubt. I'm not half-hearted about this. I am full-hearted about what I deserve. And when you make that affirmation and declaration to yourself, you'll become an energetic match to that which is akin to it. So in other words, you'll begin to attract those people who will respect you and meet you where you are. So as you raise your standards, you'll have to say, okay, I have to let this type of person go, and that is okay. It doesn't mean they're a bad person. Doesn't mean I'm a bad person. It just so it is. Just let it be. This type of dynamic is not positive for me. This causes me issues, grave disappointment or doubt, and this is not my optimal way to function. So I'm claiming that change now. So my optimal functioning is to have a little bit of a smile. It is to have some energy. It is to be able to look up and smile and say, I feel wonderful. I feel magnificent. I am magnificent. I am wonderful. I am love. I am abounding with warmth, intelligence, character, heart. I'm a good listener. I'm a good father. I'm a good partner. I'm a good woman. I'm a caring individual. I'm talented. And so it is. And so you need to also be able to articulate your strengths to others, especially to those others, in your mind's eye first, before then you are able to do it to them or speak it to them. Because if you don't own your positive qualities, then you're not wearing that on your sleeve, then people are going to come in and then overlook that about you, or you're going to feel that this positive aspect of you is overlooked. So part of also your healing journey is to be able to articulate this, your positive aspects. I am extremely affectionate. This part was taken advantage of. I'm extremely giving. This is where I was taken advantage of. This is where I gave, too many gifts to people and I had nothing for myself. This was not fair. This was unequivocally wrong, and I am changing that now. This is where I went without love, and that was not in my best soul's interest. And so now I'm okay and not ashamed to have needs and admit my needs. and that is okay. And to own your goodness unequivocally is super, super important towards your recovery and feeling confident as a person. It is to know your goodness. And even though it has unequivocally not been reflected back to you by this person, or the opposite has been done, they've done you a disservice in life, it is okay to state that. Even though you might not want to think that or focus on that, you need to focus on the positive of that which you are. So you also need to be able to own that feeling and then also repeat that as part of your affirmation over and over and over and over again. I am talented. I am creative. I am loving. I am a good partner. I am a good person. I am a person of character. I am a good provider. And this I know to be the case. And sometimes feel like people feel depersonalized because it's never been reflected or mirrored back to them. So it's very important that you really become strong about mirroring back to this to yourself, owning these positive qualities, and letting this really soak into your physiology. And you really, really need to be able to put this on the roll so it can roll off your tongue. When someone is asking you to over-obligate yourself, or you find yourself in the midst of being over-obligating. I have given enough. It's okay for me to stop. I've gotten everything organized here. I've gotten this, and that is, I've set that up very nicely. I've already taken care of this, and this will be for another time. I've already taken, so give yourself compliment, give yourself praise, give yourself a pat on the back when you find that you're over-obligating or your emotions are running amok. Begin to curtail and have emotional stability, boundaries, and standards with your own feelings and your own self-articulation. Particularly, understand your value and worth and qualities and traits as the unique human being that you are, and that self-confidence will be running through you 100%. This is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.